Hey, my friend, I am so excited about today's module because this is my all-time most favorite topic to talk about. It's about financial goals and how we reach them. And this session is all about taking our hopes and dreams and wishes and turn them into something tangible, something we can achieve. And this is a powerful lesson, and there's so much value and richness in it. I got two powerful exercises for you, so you can straight after this training do your homework, implement them into your current strategy, and set your goals for 2025. And I believe if we set goals every single year, if we have milestones towards those goals, this is boosting our inner self, our confidence. We can see we can trust ourselves in reaching our goals. And so we reach from goal to goal to goal, and every goal is like a stepping stone towards our financial freedom, towards the life of our dreams. And that's why this session is so powerful, so important. And let's have a look what we're covering today. So today we look at why most people fail at financial goals, what kind of powerful lessons we can learn from that, how we can take those learnings and include them into our own strategy to be successful when we achieve our goals. The next thing is the Wealth GPS framework for goal setting. We all know GPS systems from our car, from our phone. It shows the location where we're currently at. And this is so important that we know where we're at, because if we have a destination, we need to know where we are so we can actually draw the map. And if there's like a roadblock on the way, we have a detour. And this is something we're covering with the Wealth GPS. Also, the 3 levels of wealth goals. It is important to understand that there are different levels because for each part of our journey, we need the right goal. And then we need to prioritize those goals. And if you're chasing the wrong goal because you're not at that part of the journey yet, most likely you won't achieve it and you get demotivated and you think, well, why bothering achieving goals at all? It's not working anyway for me. And you would wonder how many people don't even set goals anymore in the beginning of the year. Maybe you are one of those because it's just like pointless chasing after something that's not working. And the reason why it's not working is because, which we cover with the first point, because you're chasing dreams and not goals. And that's important that we turn our dreams into goals. So this strategy today is for you if you're struggling with achieving your goals. The 1-3-5 financial goal formula. I'm going to give you some hacks how you can actually today, after this session, do this exercise, and then you're good to go. You know exactly what to do next to achieve those goals, what kind of steps leading towards those goals. So you see, very powerful today. And finally, I give you the secret to actually achieving your wealth goals. Some personal practical hacks I personally use and make the whole goal setting even more powerful, because this is like the stuff most people don't teach you. Most people go like with the SMART principles, which we're covering as well, and like having like a strategy and breaking down the milestones. But I'm going to give you the secret how you can actually build more momentum and make sure that you achieve your goals. This is really cool stuff. I'm so on fire for this session today. So why do most people fail at financial goals? And they fail not because of lack of effort or discipline. They fail because they set bad goals. And it's all about what we do in the prep work, how we actually define our goals, and how we break our dreams into goals. This is much more important than the discipline along the way. I know I've tried discipline, and discipline at one point disappears. Encouragement, accountability, they're all valuable tools in our tool set, and we need to take advantage of them. But this is not the main driver how we achieve our goals. We need to align our brain and our heart and have the right destination. So our brain and our heart says, well, we have to go to that way. So this is something we're going to cover. A lot of people have vague, unrealistic, and uninspiring goals, like I want more money. This is something I hear a lot. I want more money. But the thing is, yeah, how much is more money? What do you need it for? Why do you need it? And it really gets abstract in itself. And if you have something abstract, it's really hard to focus or have a laser sharp focus on your goal if it's just like abstract and so vague that you can't pinpoint it down. So it needs to be detailed. It needs to have some time frame attached to it. You need to know exactly the picture you're chasing. Otherwise, it gets a big problem for you. And we don't rise to our dreams, we fall to our systems. I really love that quote because we can have the biggest dreams, the most aspiring dreams in the world. And it's great, but if you do the first step towards them and you see, well, it's struggling, it's hard, and you have no system in place, there's nothing that is keeping you accountable and keeping you on the roadmap towards this goal. So we need to build a system, and I'm teaching you today how to build that system. So a lot of people have no plan on how to reach their goal. This is part of the system as well. And without a plan, reaching a goal can be quite overwhelming. When traveling, we all use a navigation system. Somehow we hope that our goal, once set, will pull us towards it. And that's what I said before. We need to be aligned. We need to have a strategy that actually the push towards a goal works inwards, outwards, and not setting a goal and hope that the outwards world is pulling us towards it. And this is something very powerful once we understand that the plan needs to be set. And I think it was Warren Buffett who says, an idiot with a plan beats a genius without a plan. Not tracking progress or breaking goals down into small wins. To know where we are, we need to set where we've come from. Tracking keeps us accountable, following the plan. And this is a very powerful thing as well. So you see what most people neglect and what we need to do. We need to have like a tracking system in place. So it's the same when you're on the road, you want to go to your destination, your GPS tells you where you are, and you need to have a plan. What happens when you have some road work ahead, how the detour would look like, and when to turn right, when to turn left. This is super important when it comes to reaching our goals. And the last point is not being emotionally connected with goals. And this is the easiest way to lose interest in achieving your goal. Because if you're just doing it brain-wise, if you're just looking at it from your logical side, why this goal might be important to you, your heart is not in it. And your heart is your greatest partner in achieving your goal. So we're going to take advantage of how we can partner with our hearts to reach our goals. And this is one of the reasons why people sacrifice their long-term goals for short-term pleasure. So let's say you want to save up $20,000 a year because you want to have a down payment for a house, but it's just like logically because, yeah, a house is good and that's what someone has to have. And because our parents used to have houses and our grandparents used to have houses, so I have to have a house as well. I want to have 20 grand for that. And then you're like going like grocery shopping, you're in the store and you see that brand new television, $2,000, but you think, well, I could use an upgrade. So there's no harm in that. And you just buy that new TV because it's currently on sale. Normally it costs 4 grand, so you save 50%. You think, well, that's a pretty good deal. And at home, you look at the new telly, it's like 3 or 4 inch bigger in the screen, and yeah, the sound is better, but it's not really necessary because your current TV is working. Now it ends up like on eBay sales and you give it away for $20. So you don't make any money with that one. And now you have a big TV, but you burn $2,000 on something you don't even need because it's just something you wanted. It's short-term pleasure to have a little bit of a bigger screen and a little bit of a better sound. But those 2 grand, if you are emotionally completely into your goal, you think twice about buying something that is taking that goal further away from you. And this is something very powerful. You need to be excited about your goal. And I want you to be excited about your goal because if you're not excited about your goal, no one will be. And that's a very powerful statement I learned from Tom Bilyeu. The Wealth GPS framework for goal setting. Instead of setting random goals, we create smart wealth goals that fit into our GPS system. And you might have heard SMART principles or the SMART framework. And this is something a lot of people teaching about goals are teaching you that you make your goals smart to achieve them actually. And SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. This is a proven framework to set clear, actionable goals that drive real results. And this is so true. SMART principles will be a game changer if you don't use them in your goal setting. And specific, let's go through them. Specific is the first one, stands for the S. Your goal needs to be specific. So if you say, well, I want more money, it's not specific. You need to break it down into, well, I need $10,000. So you know exactly what your goal is. It's like a defined finish line. Then your goal needs to be measurable. So along the way, you need to measure if you're still on track or are you losing track. And if 10,000 a year is your goal, so let's say by the end of 2025, you want to have saved $10,000 and it's July and you have saved $250, you know, well, maybe I need to adjust my goal or I need to adjust my strategy because I'm not budgeting well. And if I keep going with that kind of attitude, I save up $500 instead of 10,000. So measurable makes it really powerful and accountable along the way. Achievable. It needs to be achievable for you so you actually know you can do it. And this needs to be aligned to your mindset and what you believe in yourself. And if you say, well, my goal is by the end of 2025, I want to be a millionaire, and you're dead broke and working a shitty job where you don't earn any money, that's really hard to make this achievable. And you will always self-sabotage yourself because you highly doubt that you can achieve that. But if you make it like a smaller goal and say, well, 1 million is a great goal, maybe in 5 years, but for this year, I set up maybe saving $10,000, which is a stretch in your current situation, but it's achievable and doable. So it needs to be a stretch as well, because if it's too easy, you think, well, I can do it like in 2 months, so why bothering working a year on that? But if you need to save $10,000, which is the first milestone towards your million, then you actually are keen. Maybe I look for another job. Maybe I can do something with my budget. Maybe I have like a part-time job that actually fuels my dream. And this is so powerful. If it's achievable, it really boosts your energy. Being relevant. And that's where we link our heart with our brain. If it's not relevant for you, you won't achieve it. So if you say, well, I want to save $10,000, you need to know why. And your heart needs to understand why you want to save $10,000. And if you say, well, I want to achieve it because it's a down payment for my house and I want to live in my own house, I don't want to pay rent anymore. I want to actually make this house a home by just doing everything inside how I want it. I want to have like a big room for your movie theater, home movie theater. You want to have like a home gym. Maybe you want to have a sauna in there and an ice bath. Maybe you want to have like a big garden outside with a barbecue where you can invite your friends. That's a good picture, actually. Have a house with a big garden outside where you can invite all your friends. And then you close your eyes and you see how you're there with your friends. You're chilling Sunday afternoon. You're the master on the barbecue. You're making the best burgers in town. And you have like this connection, this human connection. And your heart is really happy in this situation. And now you link it to something relevant to you. So this is the fourth point, and the fifth point is time bound. So your goal needs to be time bound. That means it needs to have a due date. If your goal doesn't have a due date, you have a problem achieving it. Because if you say, well, 10 grand is my goal, but you don't have like the due date, let's say 31st of December 2025, then it's like, well, if I achieve it now or in 5 years, it doesn't matter. But you want to achieve it in a specific time frame, because once you achieve it, you want to go for the next goal, and your next goal needs to be more excited and bigger because you want to grow, you want to expand yourself. And this is so powerful once you understand how the SMART principles can actually empower you to set better goals and goals you can actually achieve. And I created for you the Wealth Builders Financial Goal Setting Workbook. This is something I put a lot of effort into it. So you have a complete guided exercise where you actually define your dreams and break your dreams into a goal. You make it specific, you make it measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. And then we also look at this in our goal setting workbook. Where are you currently? Where do you want to go? And then the clear roadmap from this point over to this point. Also, what kind of obstacles might be in your way? Do you need a detour? Everything of that is covered in the goal setting workbook. I put it together with everything I believed is powerful to enrich you in that session, and something that doesn't take like 5 weeks to get it done. So it's an exercise, takes you like half an hour, but it's worth your time. So that's something I'm really keen on, producing content that's helping you, but not overwhelming you with like hourly long exercises. So this is something you need to do straight after this training. This is an example quickly. Instead of I want to save $10,000, which would only be specific, we need to say I will save $200 per week for 12 months by cutting expenses, increasing income, and automating savings, which eventually leads me to the $10,000. And this is so powerful because now, instead of being overwhelmed by the number $10,000 or how do I get that, because it doesn't matter if I get the 10 grand now or at the end of the year. So I'm gonna put it off, and in December I focus on getting 10 grand. Now you know exactly every single week you have something to do to work towards your goal. And one of the most powerful lessons I learned is only put fuel into your fire that fuels your goal. And if the fire is your goal, you want to let it keep going. You want to put everything in that's helping you. So you don't want to put some extra water into your fire, because that's very dangerous for your fire. You want to put oil and wood and other burning stuff into your fire to make that flame even bigger and bigger and bigger and achieve your goal in no time. So now we're covering the 3 levels of wealth goals, and not all goals are created equal. And the first goal we want to cover, and you might remember like those different stages from one of the first sessions we had, and those goals actually fit those stages. The first goal is if you're in survival mode, if you're currently living paycheck by paycheck, maybe you're highly indebted, you don't have an emergency fund, you need to pay off debts. This is like a survival goal. This is necessary to protect yourself. So this is the first goal we need to achieve, need to set, because if we reach for the higher stars and we don't have like the survival goals in place, we have a big problem. If something comes unexpected, and let's say I'm currently saving a lot because I want to be financially free, I don't have an emergency fund, and maybe there is an emergency, then I need to take my money out of the investment, maybe with a loss, to cover for the emergency. So we have survival goals, which are the basics for personal finance. We have growth goals, so save for investments, increase income streams, financial stability. This is actually where we build wealth step by step. And then we have the freedom goals, which is for passive income, retire early, build a legacy, and live life on your terms. And you can see this actually fits our stages. So when you did the Wealth Builders quiz, the quiz results put you in one of the buckets over here, either in survival state, in growth state, or in freedom state. And depending on the state you're currently at, it is important to choose the right goal, to choose a goal in that bucket. And if you're, for example, currently in the growth state, there is no point of putting your goal either in the survival or the freedom bucket. As I said, connected with your Wealth Builders quiz, at which stage you're currently at, important to set your goals accordingly. The 1-3-5 financial goal formula. So now diving deeper into some hacks, my friends. This is a simple system you can implement straight after this training. 1 stands for one big wealth goal. For example, I will save $10,000 in 12 months. So yes, this is currently not smart, because it's just like a number and a time. You don't have the emotional attachment and everything, but this is just a quick example for you. When you do the exercise, this is very powerful. So one big wealth goal. Then you have 3 supporting actions. So cut unnecessary expenses, start a side hustle, automate savings. So these are like actions you can do. And then the 5 stands for 5 daily or weekly habits. For example, reviewing my finances weekly, track my spending, set no spend days, or look at the financial markets every day for 5 minutes. Or if you're doing crypto, like have like a crypto review every single day. So that keeps you on track. So you have something to do every single day. You know your exact actions, how to achieve your big wealth goal overall. Now looking at top secrets to actually achieving your wealth goals. And these are really some secret hacks. And I believe I have never heard anyone talking about these. And this is not just something about how to achieve your goals. This is really an accelerator to achieve those goals. So the first thing is alignment with your values. And you might think, well, Manu, what does that have to do with my values if we talk about goals? And I tell you, everything has to do with it, because goals don't align. If they don't align with your values, you won't achieve them. They don't last. And I'm going to give you a quick example out of my own life. So one of my values is connection with people, and I love to be connected with people. And I love to hang with people, and I love to have impact in other people's lives. So this is something why I'm doing Wealth Builders, because one of the biggest values in me is impact, is human connection, and all in regards to that. One of my goals in the past was having like a wonderful solidary property in the middle of nowhere. So like best place, maybe an island in front of Spain, or maybe a part of Spain, like an hour away from anyone else. And I was like scribbling like the property with the big house on it, like a wonderful mansion with a pool, a couple of animals around, and just my wife and myself, and just far away from people, just having my own property over there, maybe having a hunting bow, and a shooting area, some maybe motorized gear like a quad to drive around and have some fun. Maybe I invite a friend over from time to time. Um, but achieving that goal would be super, super hard, and I would self-sabotage myself all the time, because my heart and my soul would not see my values in this goal, because this goal is solitary. This goal is me by myself alone. I can't have any impact somewhere in the nowhere land. I need to be around people to have impact. I need to have my house. My If I want to have a mansion, it's fine, but if I want that mansion around people, it's so much better to open my house over there, because then I have human interaction, I have impact in other people's lives. But now, because I realize, okay, if I spend like the money on a mansion, I can leverage that money on impacting more people. So that's why I'm building Wealth Builders over everything else, because this is more powerful for my values to achieve it than having that big house. I'm totally fine in a smaller house. I'm totally fine having a small garden. And it's totally fine by me. I'm living in New Zealand. I'm living the dream anyway. But I put everything into Wealth Builders just because it's aligned with my values of impact, of being with people together, having human connection, interaction. So this is something very, very powerful to look at, that your values are aligned with your goals. Make sure your financial goals reflect who you truly are and the life you want to build. Align wealth building with your core values. If freedom matters to you, focus on passive income, not just a bigger paycheck. And when your goals are in sync with your values, discipline turns into desire. You'll want to take action daily. And this is the inner force that's driving you. And we spoke about the force within you creating your outside world. That's much more powerful than setting a goal and hope that goal will pull you towards it. So the second secret I want to give you is emotional connection. Make your goals unshakable. And goals without deep emotional meaning often fade. Tie each goal to a powerful why. And this is something we had in the exercise before, where I said, close my eyes and think about you standing on the barbecue, serving your friends the best burger in town. This is like an emotional connection to your goal. And you want to really, really tie that big together. And should be part of your daily exercise. Not just thinking about the strategy and how to actually logically go towards your goal, but how emotionally this will affect you once you reach that goal, even once you reach a milestone. So let's say that goal with that wonderful house in the garden, the barbecue, that is your goal. Now saving $10,000. Just close your eyes and think, how would it feel having the first 10K on your savings account, knowing that you just need another 20K, for example, for the down payment, and then you're good to go to get that house. And this really makes you feel warm and wonderful, and your inner self will start pushing you towards your goal. You visualize what your life will look like when you achieve that goal. You feel the excitement or the relief or the confidence. So if your goal is to pay off a lot of debt because it's a burden on your shoulders and the shoulders on your family, You just close your eyes and feel how your wife looks at you when you're finally debt free, and how you can actually give your kids a much better life because there are no debts burdening you anymore. So creating a mental trigger every time you doubt yourself, this is very powerful as an exercise. Remind yourself to the emotions behind your goal. Maybe write that down, because doubt comes every single day, and I don't know anyone who is immune to doubt. So when doubt creeps in, you need to remind yourself to the emotion why you want to achieve that goal. And this is so powerful. That was the second secret. Now I'm going to give you the third secret is gamification and tracking. What gets measured gets managed. And we already talked about gamification, how you can actually gamify your journey, because this is so powerful if it's a game, if it's not just serious and boring and dusty and dry, but you make it fun, exciting, wonderful with other people together. You open up and suddenly it's like a wonderful journey you're on. And you use a simple tracker like our Wealth Builder Success Tracker you already have to visualize the process. You can use a journal as well. You can use like a flip chart. You can use anything you want, an Excel spreadsheet, just to keep you accountable towards your goal. And this is also something I want you to do after you've done the exercise I've given you today, and you're breaking down your goal into several milestones. Maybe draw like a visual map for your goal, like with yourself in the beginning, your goal at the end, the journey you're doing, and the milestone in between. And then whenever you hit a milestone, you cross it off. And then you come to the community, you post in the community, well, guys, I just achieved my first milestone. Let's say 10 grand to save is the goal. You just saved $1,000. You post in the Wealth Builders Clubhouse, hey, guys, I just saved $1,000. I'm so proud of myself. Give me an applause. I demand applause. I demand honor. And then we all celebrate you, because this is so powerful. And our hearts are really linked with your heart on that journey. As I said, break big goals into small, easy wins, micro goals, celebrate those micro goals. This is so, so powerful on that journey. Use a habit stacking. This is something I learned a couple of years ago, which really made a big difference in my life. Attach financial habits to existing habits. So for example, every morning when you get up, first thing you do is check your bank account. Well, this is an example. Obviously, if your bank account is high in the red, you don't want to do that. You want to do something different. What I, for example, do is every time at lunchtime, before I make my lunch, I look at the financial market for half an hour. This is like something I learned from Atomic Habits. This is a very cool book. In one of our past giveaways, I was giving away Atomic Habits as a prize. And I'm thinking of, let's maybe do it for the next couple of months as well, for the leaderboard winner in our Wealth Builders Clubhouse. So if you engage in the community and you rank the highest, you're going to get Atomic Habit from me in the next couple of months. So it's an aspiring goal to do that. You can buy that book by yourself as well if you want and don't want to wait that long. It's very powerful. And it's about habit stacking. If you're not familiar with that, it's just connecting habits together. So I'll give you another example that breaks it down really easy. So when you want to go for a run in the morning, you don't just like say, I'm going to go for a run in the morning, and the next morning you just get up and then you don't know what to do. And maybe you're looking for your sports gear, but then the coffee is much more attractive than the sports gear. What you do is you put your shoes and you put your sports gear already next to your bed. So when you get up in the morning, you put on your shoes, you put on your sports gear, and then you're already dressed for the occasion. So you go out for a run. And then you might do like a protein shake prep in the kitchen already. So when you come home, the next habit is having a protein shake instead of a coffee. So that's not health advice. That's just like out of my head at the moment, because I believe most protein shakes are not really healthy anyway. But this is put 3 eggs out and fry yourself some eggs straight after running. But the thing is, you get the idea. Habit stacking makes it easy for you to run your habits on autopilot, and that's something we need to break down for our gamification and tracking progress. And that was the third secret hack I want to give you today. Now look at your action items, my friends. And this is something I'm very proud of, because I created the financial goal setting workbook for you. You just jump on wealthbuilders.cc/FGS for financial goal setting workbook. And this is like on Google Drive, so you can copy it and paste it into your own Google Drive, or you download it on your computer, and just follow along. Everything is explained on that document. If you have any questions, please join our live call, ask your questions over there. Because I don't want you to get stuck along the journey. If you get stuck on this part of a journey, it gets really hard to follow along in the next couple of days and weeks. So I really want you, if you ever get stuck along this journey in the bootcamp, jump into our live calls. I mean, I'm doing that just for that purpose, and ask you questions so we can actually solve those obstacles ahead of you, and makes your journey so much enjoyable and easy. The next thing I want you to do is, I created a second resource for you under Wealth Builders CC/message Wealth Yourself. And this is a worksheet where you actually write a message to your wealth yourself. And this is a very fun exercise to do, because this brings all the emotions into the journey. You want to be very emotional in that letter. That letter is just for you. It's another document on Google Drive, so just copy paste into your own drive or download it, and write it from the bottom of your heart. And that makes it so powerful achieving your goals with those both exercises. The next thing I want you to do, or ask you to do, is post your 135 in the community. Because accountability, as I mentioned, is a powerful resource we want to take advantage of. So post your financial goal, your 3 actions, and your 5 habits into the community. So after doing that exercise, just take 2 minutes, go in the community, go into our Wealth Builders community, post it in the community board, and let other people cheer you on your journey, and make yourself accountable and open up for that part of the journey. And the last point I want you to do is join our next live call. Even if you don't have any questions now, it's good to be connected. Human connection is so powerful on this journey. And for me, it's very valuable to get to know you, to see you, to understand where you currently are. And that makes all the difference for me to produce better trainings for you. So take advantage of the live calls. I don't know how long I will be doing them, but at the moment I'm doing them, and it's very, very powerful to come together as a community, just hang around together casually, asking questions if we have questions. Maybe I do a bit of teaching on something that's currently relevant. Maybe a teaching comes out of one of the questions. Maybe one of you guys have something valuable to share. That is the space to do this. Quick summary for the end. Wealth goals fail when they are vague, uninspiring, and not tracked. We covered that. We covered the wealth GPS, why this is important, the 135 formula to ensure you move forward consistently, and tracking your progress and celebrating wins keeps you motivated and unstoppable. As always, I would really appreciate your testimonial. Just jump on wealthbuilders.cc/testimonial and give me your testimony. I'm really keen if you have experienced something fantastic in our community, if one of my teaching really helps you. Give me that feedback, please, because I need it in our relationship to become a better person for you, to show up even more precise, helping you in your current and unique situation. And that is the place where you let me know what I'm doing well, so I can do more of that. And also you get a chance of win special prizes if you put in your testimony. Our final quote from Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. I don't know if I pronounced that one right. I'm not that good in French. A goal without a plan is just a wish. And that's something we covered in the beginning. We have a lot of wishes, a lot of wishful thinking, a lot of dreams, and we need to break it down. We need to have a plan, and then a dream transforms into a goal. A wish transforms into a goal by giving it a plan, a strategy. And I hope these sessions really equip you to create that strategy, to create that plan, to follow after your plan, to achieve your goal. I mean, the bootcamp has so many cool things ahead of us, but this is a foundational training where you set your first goal. And remember this goal you're setting now, today in the exercise, it's just the first step. You will adjust it, you will review it. Maybe in half a year you say, well, I don't want to achieve that goal anymore. Maybe I want to achieve this one. You can always change it. it is actually, it is your goal, and you need to make it your goal. And the power in that is doing this exercise over and over and over again. And I think in one of the previous videos, I mentioned that Danielle and I, for like the last 12, 13 years, we're doing goal setting every year. And since that, every year we achieved at least 80% of those goals, which is fantastic for us. It boosts our confidence, and we can't wait to set new goals for the new year. And we can't wait to follow through in the strategy to achieve those goals. So very powerful today. And I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Act now, be unstoppable, my friends. And let me know about your goals. Put it in the community. I want to know what your goals are. Let's compare our goals. Let's run towards our goals. Let's make this a fun fest together and achieve our goals. And in a couple of months, when the year 2025 will end, let's celebrate together that we achieved at least 80% of our goals. Okay, my friend, see you in the next video.